this beautiful Monday. I hope you are going forward this week to have a wonderful week. I wanted to talk to you a little today about unlearning what you think you know. So, one of the biggest lessons for me through this process of really healing and recovering my thoughts around money and my addiction to want to purchase things or buy things in order to feel myself feel better about something. So, when I emotionally feel out of sorts, or just in general, for me, it's really this feeling that comes up for me that I lack if I don't buy something. So if I've gone a while without purchasing something new, I have this energy of I'm becoming less of a person, or I become inferior to what I perceive other people to be because I feel like I'm not having something new. And it's really a very dysfunctional and fearful idea that's fed to me by my ego, by my fear, that tells me that I need something out there to make me feel better inside. So then I really start seeing my source of happiness as the things that I'm purchasing or the money that I have or do not have. So obviously, I then become very disconnected with the love that's already inside of me. So part of the recovery for me has been to realize and recognize what thoughts I have had over my lifetime around money. So thoughts like if I have a problem, money will solve the problem. If I have less money, it means that I have to feel less about myself. If I have more money, for me, I feel fear that money will take over and will control me. If I have more money, am I going to get lost in my money? If I have less money, how will I purchase the things that I need to be happy? So there's a lot of fear, and you can see that it's both sides. It's not just my fear has never been just that I don't have enough, but I've also blocked receiving money because I felt like because I have this need to want to purchase things to feel better, I feel scared that if I do have money, I'll get lost in it. So I'll want to just purchase everything and not function. And that's really what it does, right? Your fear really allows you to not function at your highest potential. So, of course, I've been functioning pretty good with this fear. You know, some fears that I've had and some addictions that I've had have taken over my life where I've had quite a bit of dysfunction. And I would say that money was one of those for me too that made my life very dysfunctional at one point in time. I was unable to be honest with my money and have integrity with my money. So I got myself into some financial situations, illegal financial situations that were not necessarily were not good for me. And obviously I wasn't able to function the best that I could at that point. But I was able to clean up those situations by becoming more honest about it. And I think the trauma of potentially completely making my life a disaster really woke me up to a certain degree, even though I don't think I fully woke up completely and realized how deep this fear had been in me. I woke up enough that at least I began to change my behavior. And that's something I wanted to address in this vlog, our behavior around money. Because for most of us, when we think of having financial freedom or when we think of being financially free, sometimes, and I know I've done this for myself, we start applying things that have to do with our behavior, practical things. So, and it's good to do that. So, for instance, things like budgeting or assigning $1 to everything that you have. So, making sure that everything you purchase is assigned $1, so like you know where everything is going. But what I realized with that is it becomes very exhausting if you're constantly trying to fix your behavior without really healing the real problem. And the real problem will always be inside. So it'll always be some tiny little fear or many little tiny fears that you have fed yourself over the course of a lifetime. So for instance, you could be budgeting all you want, but you'll still be feeling like I don't have enough. Or you'll still be feeling like I am lacking because I don't have more. And that will still be driving the energy of your budgeting or whatever energy, or paying off your debt. You could be paying off your debt just fine, but you'll be feeling like, oh, I still don't have enough. So you could possibly pay off your whole debt if you have, thousands of dollars in debt and still not fully feel happy and be like, okay, well, I'm still not happy. Because it's always, when it comes to addictions, it's always like you're chasing the high. You're chasing the feeling of just feeling good in that moment for whatever outside source you think your happiness is lying in. So whether it's cigarettes or food or money or whatever it is, no matter what it is, if you're seeking to find it on the outside, then once you get it on the outside, you'll realize that you still do not feel good enough. So sad to say that that could possibly happen. And I think that's how it happens, that you could potentially, pay off your debt. You could be a person that has no debt and still have tons of issues with everything else and still not feel at peace with life. Have some family drama, have some relationship drama, some kind of drama, because internal peace really has to be cultivated inside. So any of these situations could be your lesson, could be the catalyst for you to search for that peace. So for me, I felt like for years I've cultivated a practice of really finding peace internally. And I got to a place where I realized I wanted to go even deeper. I wanted to take this to the next level. In order for me to really step into what I felt was my purpose of teaching others these principles of Course in Miracles, teaching others a better way to live their life, I felt like I really had to be an example of that. And I couldn't do it feeling like I still had this fear around money, or these dysfunctional ideas around money, or this codependent relationship with money where I felt like money was what made me happy. And if I wasn't buying something, or if I wasn't getting money, or if I wasn't completely obsessed with my thoughts about money, then, I wouldn't be okay. And of course, I didn't feel good doing that, because obviously it wasn't my truth. So for a long time, I carried a lot of guilt because I couldn't get it together in that area of my life. So part of the recovery really is recognizing what your deep fears are about money, and really even outing them, writing them down, putting them somewhere, and really getting honest with yourself. I think that this is something that can easily be not addressed for many of us, money, because it's so normal in our society to want to buy things and buy the latest thing and want more money and want to be wealthy and want to be rich. And we get bombarded a lot of times with some of the TV that we watch. It shows us people that have labeled this and labeled that, and who are you wearing, what's your brand name, and if you don't have this brand name, then you have to feel less about yourself. And these are just the messages that we're sent. I don't know if we're sent the message of you have to feel less about yourself, but we're definitely sent this message of identifying ourselves with these labels and these brands. There's nothing wrong with enjoying those things. I enjoy them, I have to say, but it's our attachment to them. So for most of my life, it's been my attachment to having those things and how I perceived myself when I had those things that really drove my fear, not the thing itself, right? So like this apple, okay? There's nothing wrong with having the apple. I love this apple. It's actually I think it's very cute. The fake apple. But if I attach to this apple my feelings of security and happiness, and if I don't have this, I'm not going to be happy, then the meaning of the apple is what changes. So when we think of unlearning, what unlearning really means is to unlearn the meaning that we've attached to things. For me, I've had to unlearn the meaning that I've attached to money. To me, money had the meaning of happiness, of fulfillment, of making me feel complete, of making me feel a sense of purpose, of making me feel that I was lacking something, and now that I have money, I'm good enough. There was a lot of things that I had attached to money, like my problem solver, the end all of things, whatever it is that you're going through, it's the meaning that you're attaching to that particular issue, addiction, problem that is really causing the fear, that's really causing the obsessive compulsive thoughts. And then of course comes the behavior. So that's why, if you're attached to buying things, you'll end up hoarding, or you'll end up buying a whole bunch of things, or like you find yourself having multiples of one thing. So it really manifests itself in the behavior, but the thought process is obviously what began to bring that behavior into existence. So in order to change that, you really have to start with your thoughts. So out your thoughts, out your fearfulness. Then once you out your fearfulness, I would say begin to surrender those fears. That's the biggest thing that I've done, is to be willing to let go of those fears, to be willing to see that I don't have to live with these fears, to be willing to see that there has to be a better way for me to coexist with my money than to feel like my money runs my life. And in the little time that I've been doing this, it's been over a month now, but I've seen miraculous shifts occur in my life. So for someone who just left a job, I could be having a lot of, per se, issues with my money, but I actually feel more at peace with my money. I feel like the right amount of money that I need comes right when I need it. I feel like all my bills are paid on time. Some of my bills have actually been paid at this point ahead of time. So what a beautiful feeling. I don't feel like I have to think about all the time. I think it's very miraculous to see it from an outside perception. You had a job, you had a steady paycheck, but you didn't feel like your bills were paid on time. You didn't feel like things were taken care of all the time. Now the external has changed, so there is no, that form isn't there. But because I've released myself to understand that money does not come from that particular source, does not come from the job, it actually comes from somewhere a lot higher than a job. And I'm beginning to surrender to every day, every moment. Really, guys, it's every day, every moment I surrender to this idea that it comes from a place higher than myself, that I actually do not control it. I just show up for it, and then I allow myself to serve that greater purpose. And the greater purpose, God, love, sends me money that allows me to serve that even more. So it just becomes really like a tool for me to serve at a higher purpose instead of me actually serving money. So before, I think I felt like I was a servant to money. I was the one doing what money told me to do. Whereas now I feel like it's just a beautiful relationship. Not all the time. I still have funkiness. But most of the time where I just surrender it over and I say, okay, you know, show me what to do with this. Show me what transaction to have. Show me what to make. Sure, and now, of course, I can budget a lot better because I don't have 101 thoughts about what's going to actually make me happy. So surprisingly, sure, I can apply something practical to my life now. I can tell you exactly when's the last time I spent and what I spent it on and how much I spent it on, because I'm not trying to fill myself with this. I don't run around buying anything and everything that potentially could make me feel better. I would lose track of my transactions. So you could ask me like, what was this? And I would have no idea what would be the last thing I would actually have purchased. I couldn't remember because it was too many, basically is what I'm saying. Even if it was little things, you know, we think, oh, a dollar here, a dollar there, doesn't matter. But this is the point of when I began to clear out some of that energy, I would bring in the one thing that was just perfect for that one particular time. So of course, I still purchase the things that I want. I still have the things that I want. I actually feel like I get everything that I want. I just manifested a new queen size bed that I really, really wanted for my family. So I didn't have that before. I brought it in, and I don't feel the sense of lack. I don't have this block of, you know, the job, the money, where is it going to come from? So it's very interesting to see these miraculous changes. So I challenge you to do these they're small steps, but they're major steps. And the first one is to be able to see the fear in your life that's running your life around whatever it is it's manifesting on. Change that first and foremost before you try to change your behavior. First, change your thoughts. And then you'll see that your behavior naturally will change with those new thoughts. That's what I've seen for myself, that my behavior around money has changed as I've changed my thoughts about it. And now I feel like this is going to stick. So I know I don't fear that if I bring in more money, I'm going to just lose it and all of a sudden get back into my craziness, because I feel like it's a day-to-day surrender. So I know that every day I need to surrender it. So I can't future trip about in the future when I have millions of dollars, because I know that, well, when I have millions of dollars, I'll do the same thing that when as I had $5. I'll surrender it. I'll let it go. So the $5 will have no hold on me, and the $1 million will have no hold on me. Whereas before I felt like $2 had a hold on me. How could I ever allow something bigger to come in? If $2 was taking control of me, my perception was, if $2 takes control of me, obviously more is going to take even more control of me. And I didn't want to lose myself in that. So acknowledge your fear, and then have the willingness to begin to surrender it slowly. Unlearn what that thing, whatever it is for you, for me it's money, means in your life. It means that I had wrong thinking about money. I attached wrong kinds of thoughts to my money. Hence, I've had a very codependent behavior with my money, seeing my money as my source of happiness, enslaving myself to my money, instead of allowing that to serve me and serve the greater purpose that I'm a part of. So I hope this helps you this week to take some tools into whatever it is that you feel has control over your life, and to really begin to unlearn. And when you unlearn, you undo that control. And when you undo the control, it doesn't mean you take the control for yourself, but what it means is you surrender it to something a lot higher than yourself. And that, my friends, is the best plan that you can have. I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye.